What is going on, fight fans? We are excited you found us because, as mentioned on last week's show, we are going to do during NFL season, we're going to do Wednesday shows for UFC. Stay out of the way of Thursday night football because you guys probably want to watch it too. We all love regulated violence here, and that means we are live on Wednesday, a little bit earlier than our normal time, too, just in time for Maddie to get in the storms there in South Florida and get poured on with rain. But I need to bring in my guy, the co-host, really the star of the show, the man, the myth, the long shot legend, Matty Tanner. And I got to ask him because really quick, we got to unwrap last week. How you doing today, buddy? All of us were kind of bummed that Gilbert did not get it done on Saturday. You had 12 grand on him. So how you doing today?
I had a lot more than that. That was just one ticket, so I got crushed. But I hit the 52K parlay the day before in the NFL, so it kind of it wiped out about almost half of that ticket, truthfully. But I'm still up a good bit, so no complaints. And I hit an 80-1 NFL ticket, so I need to do this shit in the UFC now, bro.
Yeah,
it's like first week of football, I hit an 80-1 and a 50-1, but like I need a big UFC hit now. This weekend's got to be the weekend. I'm leaving tomorrow night. I'm flying into Vegas. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to this card. I want to see the Sphere because I don't even love the card that much, to be honest. But I do want to just, a lot of people are going. I want to go see the Sphere, and it'll be a good time.
Yeah, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. It doesn't sound like they're going to do it again because it's been very expensive and there's
so
a
expensive,
lot of details to get it done. So you can say you are at the Sphere, and that means it is my job to try to have my model guide you out of a marina of piss, so you're not sitting there. And we do well. We'll see how we align on the two title fights on this card as well. So a lot to unwrap for UFC 306, but it starts with the fight that is over to the left of us, and that is an opener. A little surprising to me that this is the opener. Raul Rosas.
Very weird opener, yeah.
Yeah. I think UFC's been doing this trend where they wanted higher profile fights in the opener just so that you get to the television faster. We certainly think Raul Rosas Jr. is must-see TV because that graphic is no typo. He's only 19 years old. He's already got some dominant wins over other bantamweight guys who have even won in UFC themselves. So the kid's a phenom. He's a future title prospect, and now he's also the largest favorite on Saturday's card here at minus 850 as he moves up the ranks and takes on Aori Qileng, the Mongolian murderer, on the other side. So, Maddie, a decently high-profile opener. There are only 10 fights on this card, so like not a lot of bum fights can happen here at the Sphere. But what are you thinking in this opener here between Rosas and Aori Qileng?
I mean, this isn't the easiest fight in the world for Rosas Jr. to be minus 850. Now, that said, he's probably going to put him away. I mean, dude's been finished once in the UFC. He's never been subbed in the UFC. He probably did fight Cody Durden back in 2020. He gave up 5 takedowns to Cody Durden, so I think Raul Rosas will be able to get the takedowns early, probably find the back. It's a matter of, is that going to happen in that first round or not? Or is he going to drag on longer than that? But I'm not going to overcomplicate it. I think we'll see Rosas Jr. celebrating, at the Sphere. I think he'll be able to find a sub in this spot. It's just not the easiest fight in the world, though.
Yeah, no, it's not. And I regretted doing this because technically, by the skin of his nose, Rosas was model eligible. We've actually seen Aori Qileng a little bit longer. I've only got him minus 155. I don't feel confident in that because most of his sample is the fight against Christian Rodríguez, where he was getting controlled and mocked for most of that fight against C-Rod. So I don't really want to punish Rosas when the Tercios performance he just had was very impressive. The way he was able to control Ricky, where Ricky's been able to pop up against a lot of guys, but he nearly broke his jaw, right, with that submission attempt. I'm with you. I think Rosas is a deserving favorite. Like we could mince words about whether he should be minus 500 or minus 1,000. We don't have props on this fight yet, so we can talk a little hypothetical of what you would line each particular prop. Like maybe we run back Rosas KO, which we had against Terrence Mitchell, because he's just so overwhelmingly a grappler that's looking to get the sub. But like,
what's the number right now, by the way?
You mean KO? Like we don't have props on this guy yet, so maybe I can search the sports book, see if we can get him. But I'm not overly surprised we don't have props. I will say I'm right there with you though. I've got Rosas projected for 5.6 takedowns in this fight. Sounds about right. If it 5.6 per 15 minutes, so maybe less than that if it ends up not going the distance. But like,
I mean, what would you line Rosas versus Cody Durden at?
Well, so it's a little difficult. Durden then would be up at 135 because Aori was down at flyweight when he got controlled, which doesn't bode,
Yeah,
by the way, for his takedown defense here. But I think I would favor Rosas based on his activity and his size against a flyweight.
yeah.
Maybe like minus 120. It'd be a pretty close line. Durden's not bad.
I would make him more than the problem is Durden does get subbed by
Right.
like the elite submission guys, so I would have him as a significant. I would have Rosas as a significant favorite. But yeah, I mean, our Arky line, he had a good fight with Durden.
Yep.
I don't know. I want to see what that Rosas prop comes out at. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
I'm
nothing
I'm
right
taking
now.
a look. ShadySportsbook.com always
Yeah.
coming in clutch for me. Looks like we've got some stuff here that we can kind of dive into. But I guess one last point on the fight breakdown is that I've just been very impressed when you look at Aori Qileng's wins in UFC. Johnny Munoz and the fight where Munoz was on the stool gasping for air. Jay Perrin, Cameron Elsey. It's really bad. The guys he's beaten in UFC. I think going from there to upsetting Hosas would be a bit of a stretch. But let me pull
Yeah.
up.
Now the over under is 6.5 minutes. It looks like on like DFS apps.
Yep. And over one
Um,
and a half rounds minus 110 on this sports book that I found here. So about a pick
really,
up to go over one and a half.
you lean the over?
I think I do just because Keeling hasn't been subbed. Like he has worked on the
Yeah.
ground against a lot of guys. I think I do lean over, which Hosas. I'm looking at rounds here. Hosas round 2 plus 275, round 3 plus 550. That's not bad, and that encompasses KO or submission on the round props there. And FanDuel's number might even be a little bit bigger than that. So maybe I do play Rosas 2-3, have a 5 minute sweat here. Um,
Be a
and
nice payout.
yeah, and then it's a
Yeah.
decent payout for
Now
a guy.
this dude, he has been sub 3 times prior to the UFC. Does that
Mhm.
worry you?
That was a long. I mean, that was a long time ago and a lot of experience.
2017 in round 3 by a choke,
Yeah,
and then 2016 round 1, 2016 round 2. Yeah,
yeah.
a long time ago.
It was. I mean, it's just a lot of experience ago. So I don't know how. This is really obviously the best sub threat he's faced. On poor Aori here is getting sent to pasture. Like UFC wants to build up
Yeah.
Rosas in this spot. It's a good favorable matchup for him. Um, I think
Yeah.
just thinking through the prop market, I'm leaning a little bit longer. I've got this fight 48.2% to go the distance. Feel a little
Wow.
bit better about that than I do like the Rosas money line angle. So, um, yeah, he already spent a tough out like until he hasn't. The quick knockout by Zahavi really I think I gave you even Zahavi KO in that fight against Aori Qileng,
You
didn't I?
did, you did, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like, but I don't think of Rosas as like a super powerful puncher. I mean, the dude's a teenager, so it's like, what's his power relative to the rest of the division? I think Terrence Mitchell was just bad and kind of chinny. So
Yeah. I think he's got some power. Remember he's 19. He's probably gonna get better every single fight.
right,
He's just explosive. He's an
yeah,
explosive athlete.
yeah,
I could see a world where he just gets the back on the feet and then just ground and pounds too.
yeah.
I think I'm probably gonna trust Raul here and just play him round 1-2 finish. I just can't see. It's just like this guy gets taken down so easily, and Raul's a finisher.
Yeah, he is. Rosas' decision's the longest of his outcomes, plus 425 on here. So that
Yeah,
that's the least likely, according to odds makers, is that he goes the distance. That's kind of funny.
I'm probably gonna look to do 1-2 finish. Truthfully,
Okay, well,
or
hopefully
maybe
it'll
throw
go.
Raul in a round 1 parlay, dude. I never that round 1 parlay to win 70K. It still hurts my soul just thinking about it, dude. That was the most surgical round 1 parlay I've ever seen in my life, and fucking the last leg, always the last leg, just destroyed it, bro. I
I
think I'm
think.
gonna get my revenge on a round 1 parlay this weekend, so let's keep that in mind
Okay,
on
there are
on this
exactly
card.
three, and maybe potentially in a high profile fight, a fourth first round finish that I might be looking at. So you better like all three if you're going to
I
run
bet.
back throughout. So Rosas
Yeah,
is one of them. I definitely think he could win in round one. So we'll
yeah,
we'll move on. We don't really have that many fights to talk about, so we can deep dive these a little bit. I'll keep up ShadySportsbook.com since FanDuel doesn't have some props yet, which is not overly surprising to me with all the football games of both types on this weekend. So. Why don't we go to this next one here? Man, I think this fight's kind of a banger for second one in here.
I love
Josh,
this fight, bro. I love this fight.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear what you think about it too, because Josh Van comes in on short notice here, and it didn't go well for him in Denver. Like I thought he was kind of winning the Charles Johnson fight until he definitely wasn't. Loses third round KO in Denver, and Édgar Cháirez finally put to bed Daniel Lacerda in that weird no submission kind of trilogy that seemed to be booked over and over again, and Lacerda kept pulling out. But he's finally beyond that. Now back in a position we've seen him against Tatsuro Taira as kind of a decent sized underdog. We love Josh Van. I think UFC community in general loves Josh Van. The question
Yeah.
is, does Cháirez have something for him that could make him worth a dart here plus 186, or are we taking the chalk?
I love the dog here. I love the dog. There's a lot
Hmm.
of things going well for him in this fight. Josh Van, again, just got TKO'd in round 3.
Mhm.
Short notice. What was that, 2 months ago?
Yep.
2 months ago, the guy gets knocked out. Then he jumps into this fight on short notice. And if you look at Shirez, like he gave like I think he's very good, bro. He gave Tyra the hardest fight he's had, and Tyra's undefeated in
Sure.
the UFC, and he literally gave him the hardest fight possible. He's got that he's got that nasty reach advantage here. Like Van's probably obviously the more technical striker, but Shirez can give him problems, especially when he just got chinned. He's got a 7-inch reach advantage on him. He's, I think, a very good value spot on an underdog here. So I'm blown away that this. When I first looked at the line, I was expecting it to be like a pick 'em. Like
Interesting.
I was expecting Shirez to be like maybe plus 120, plus 130. I think it's a great spot. I love him as a dog here.
Interesting. That is so interesting, Maddie, because I don't really disagree with any of your analysis, but I was more so like in a straight pick fashion, sort of leaning toward Josh Van here. It's kind of weird as I just pulled open, was looking at stuff as you were talking here. Cháirez has had a brutal strength of schedule. When you talk about he had Tyra, he also had Clayton Carpenter on the Contender Series, and Lacerda doesn't necessarily fit that mold, but like now he's facing Van. That's three of the best prospects in all of UFC. Whereas Josh Van,
Yeah.
he took on Felipe Bunis, he took on Kevin Borges, he took on Jalga Zhumagulov. Like these are guys that not winning a whole lot themselves, respectively, and like Van is a very highly credentialed prospect. I think his hands are so good. Like he'll mix it up to the body, on target with kicks,
100%.
extends combinations. Like I think he's so nuanced as a striker for his age that we
Yeah.
kind of forget how young he is. That he's 22. He was subbed regionally. I think I think he was with CFFC in Texas. He was subbed regionally there at one point. I was kind
Are
of
you
leaning.
telling me the subs live here? Is that what you're saying?
I think so. Like, if we want
It
to put it up,
is.
we have someone in chat that likes Édgar Cháirez by submission so much that he put it in there twice. So we'll see kind of what that prop's got to pay a decent amount, given that Cháirez is a pretty sizable underdog here. But
Yeah,
Cháirez, guy in his
100%.
prime, I was just concerned about his distance striking statistics. Negative 1.14 striking success rate, 43% defense is not very good. He's been kind of a punching bag at distance, but does Josh Van have one punch and go power that could really prevent him? I think I could see this fight rolling lopsided in one way or the other. So you kind of say maybe 245 is a little bit expensive, but in general, like Van's takedown defense, I think he's shown enough
Yeah.
grappling in UFC. Like this is a tough fight, so I was very intrigued to hear that you're so interested in the underdog here.
Yeah. I mean, bro, I think all the finishing equities with Shirez too.
Sure.
You know, dude's Mexican. Fighting that USC no shade. He's got a chin, bro. He ain't going to sleep. You can submit him. He's been subbed twice in his career, but you ain't knocking him out. Josh Van ain't putting him out, right? So we know that he's live to, hopefully get a sub here against Josh Van. Maybe live on the scorecards. If Josh Van starts to fade here on short notice, just coming off a knockout, like I could see a world where you play Cháirez round 2, 3 here, and he can maybe get it done. I think it might be hard to get Van out of there early, but I think as the fight progresses here, Cháirez can maybe get a finish in round 2 or 3.
I think finish only money line would be a good way to approach this one. By the way, absurd numbers coming back on shadysportsbook.com, Maddie. Plus 500 inside the distance, Shires. Plus 500
Oh
inside the
my!
distance. Plus 1,000 by submission is a guy that
I'm all
averages
in, bro. I'm all in.
point 0.5 submission.
I'm going in, bro. I'm going in right when I touch down in Vegas. I'm going right to the counter, and I'll tell you one thing. There's some good submissions on this card.
Yeah. I think I'm with you, dude. I think I'm gonna pivot to Cháirez. I think I'm gonna pivot to Cháirez. I was not so fully sold on Van. Obviously, didn't have any bets on this fight yet.
Yeah.
Man, those numbers. See,
Now,
plus a
now,
thousand
Josh
sub,
Van,
great.
How do you feel about Van's takedown defense relative to the opposition? Because he has
Yeah.
the 81% takedown defense, but how do you feel about the opponents he's defended against?
Well, so I mean, he led up two against Bunis. I'm pretty sure that was on. Yeah, it was 2 on 6 attempts against Bunis, who is the best grappler he's faced thus far.
Yeah.
Cháirez is better. The only problem with Cháirez is he hasn't attempted a takedown yet, so he might end up. He's one of those guys. Diego Lopes, we'll talk about later, is very similar to this. He's a great grappler, but he doesn't really put it there on his terms. So maybe that's
Yeah.
why sub is
They're
plus
not wrestlers. They're grapplers. They're not wrestlers. I get it.
bingo.
I mean, and we'll talk about Diego here in a bit, but I got to play there.
Yeah, Maddie, that is so interesting, and I think plus 500 inside the
Yeah.
distance, you get the KO because I think Cháirez hurt Lacerda pretty badly in that last fight. He's got some power at distance, and then the submission. I think
Yeah.
plus 500 inside the distance is a
And
really
dude, again, you're just looking at this from a high level here. You're getting 5-1 against a guy on short notice that got finished 2 months ago. Like,
yes,
forget the names, forget the skill sets, forget the odds. Like, just looking at it from that angle or from that lens, it's a good number, bro. We'll see what it comes out on
yeah,
FanDuel, but I
yeah,
bet you we're gonna get a really good number on that.
yeah,
And
and dude,
that's a good comment in the chat there. You know, look at what Tatsuro is doing to every other opponent.
yeah,
You know, he's finished every other opponent in the UFC except his debut. But you know, he got round 2 armbar, round 1 armbar, round 2 TKO, round 2 TKO. Put away Alex Perez in round 2. Like Cháirez to go the distance with him, and defend 2 submission attempts in that 3-round fight.
yep.
You know, he's definitely as high level grappling. So I like this guy round 2-3 submission here. I can't wait
Yeah,
to see what that number comes in at.
and a couple points on that. Cháirez, if he did not jump Gilly in that fight against Tyra, he might have won it outright because he was winning the distance striking battle in that fight. Now Tyra's gotten a lot better since, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But and then another point. I mean, Clayton Carpenter on the Contender Series. We haven't seen Carpenter in a while because of injuries and stuff. But man, he is really nasty at flyweight. Like some people think he's a dark horse title contender. Goes the distance with him. So, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, and one last thing, Charles Johnson, not really a power puncher, and that's what was so stunning about him putting Charles Johnson.
100%, bro. 100.
It was
That
so
was a
stunning.
very. You almost feel like Josh Van's like trying to like, he's like coming back in too soon because he's like he's not bitter, but you know he's like,
Wants to get
oh,
back on the
that
floor.
shouldn't have happened, right? That shouldn't have happened. Let me jump back in there, and now you're fighting a Mexican savage at UFC Noche. You're
Yeah.
over 2-1 favorite here. I don't get it, bro. I don't get the odds. It should be much closer, in my opinion.
Maddie, you've swayed me. So hopefully other
Let's
people
go.
are listening out there to you.
Let's
Yeah, the
run
more
it.
you dig into Cháirez, the more it is kind of impressive, and maybe Van is a little sting in the tail, trying to get back on track a little
By
too.
the way, there's only 10 fights total. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yep, the biggest event in combat sports history. We got 10 fights total, which is kind of why you've seen the prices drop and things like that. Now they've had
That's just
some bad
asking for a
injuries.
10-legger. 10-leg parlay. I got to do it, bro.
So like, are you talking 10 legs? Is it exact outcomes? Because that would be
No,
absurd.
no, no.
Oh, okay.
I'll
I
probably
mean,
have a lot of like fight goes distance, fight doesn't go distance,
yeah.
and I'll have some big favorites in there. But I'm gonna whip up a 10-leg parlay when I get probably
Yeah,
Friday in Vegas.
if you can get a Cháirez plus 3.5, it might not be a bad parlay leg. That might
I
come in
don't
at
think they're gonna have that shit in Vegas.
sure. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows what they'll have there at the
Yeah,
circuit counter? So, Maddie, why don't we move on here? Even though the more we talk about that fight, the more you sell me, bro. And this happened, by the way. You sold me on Andre Petrosky last week. He didn't end up coming through with the submission, but he was clearly the side in that fight. Like that's why I love doing this show, and hopefully you guys love
yeah.
listening to it. But
By the way, that like you texted me, that wasn't Petrosky's fault. As
no,
much as I want to be like, fuck Petrosky, he should have went for the subs. Like, you can't sub someone that literally just lays on their back and holds on to you for dear
yep,
life. Like that round 3, you got to gamble off your back. If you actually care about trying to come back and win the fight, he didn't care. He just didn't want to get finished. He's like, I'll
yep.
take my decision loss, you know? So, by the way, on the screen, I'm sitting at the far left. Mike, if you go scroll down, now zoom in. I'm on that far left, the left to that.
Lower bowl.
I'm
Yeah,
right
yeah.
in there. Yeah, yeah. That's where I'm sitting, is in right down there. Yeah, that section.
That is so cool. I mean, that's gonna look so dope, bro. Like this
They
is
were
one of
like
the
the
most unique
$1,000
events.
tickets. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't see that well from here, but it was like
yeah,
right in the middle of that rows where I'm sitting.
yeah. That's crazy. And what's the shortest get in the door price right now? It's probably in the close to a
It
thousand
dropped.
somewhere, right?
It dropped a lot. It's pretty cheap now.
We got 700 or so. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
interesting event. And I'm glad Maddie's going because he can report back and tell us about some of the cool graphics and stuff they have loaded. But Maddie, you convinced me thoroughly on an underdog in the last fight. I will do my best to convince you on an underdog in this fight. I'll kind of give
Let's
away my
go.
angle here. We love underdogs around here, not just in the NFL, but in UFC too. I kind of like one here. Maybe other people disagree with me. I know Yazmin Hayargi is a very highly thought of prospect. She is the Mexico representative on Noche UFC night. And Ketlen Souza on the other side here. Ketlen Souza, not exactly the most impressive performance, had a decision against Mardik Man, who's someone we all find pretty terrible. But I think these odds are pretty darn wide, especially at women's strawweight. But Maddie, if you like the Hayargi chalk, let me know now, or if you have any thoughts on this fight in
Nah,
general.
dude, sell me. I want to be sold on the dog here. It's funny. I asked Moicano on the pod. I was like, "Who's the better overall fighter, generally speaking, Brazilians or Mexicans?"
Oh, it's
And
Brazilian.
he said, in MMA, he's like Brazilians.
Hmm?
In boxing, Mexicans. That was his answer.
Yeah, Mexico's got to be the best pound for pound country in boxing, without a doubt.
Yeah,
Like, I
the
mean, they have so
chins, bro. The chins are it's just built different.
yeah, and then I'd argue probably Brazil. They didn't have a title challenger for a while. Maybe it's Russia though. Russia might have taken that MMA country mantle because they got
Agreed.
all those Dagestan guys. But it's pretty
Yep.
close. I definitely I don't want to stereotype this fight because like in general I probably want to lean Mexico on this card because a lot of times UFC
Yeah.
does set these guys up for success. I just look relative to odds here. I think they are putting Pyargi in not a horrible spot, but like Jasmine Pyargi, she goes pretty close with Sam Hughes, goes the full distance. She was knocked out against who was it? Denise Gomes got her in like 20 seconds. Some people, said bad stoppage, whatever it is, but
Crazy.
and then she had the fight where she was dropped by Estela Nunez in the first round. And then her debut against Yasmin Lucindo, which I will admit has aged well, but Lucindo was just 21 in that fight. I don't think you can get behind her at this price tag when at distance, just a plus 1.14 striking success rate, not super dominant. And Souza is someone that you almost have to throw away her UFC debut. It was against Karine Silva. She was submitted very quickly, but
Yeah.
Hierarchy's not going to bring that sort of danger. And then Souza on the other side in her last fight, 68% striking accuracy overall, 60% defense. She just toyed with Mardik Man. So, like, if I had a straight pick here, I'd probably go Hierarchy. But when you think about underdog trends at women's strawweight, this fight, I'll look here in 1 second on this sports book. I bet it's overwhelmingly likely to go the distance. I don't think you can parlay hierarchy if things get a little weird. Like you assume that maybe there's some judging for in the direction of Mexico, like the Grasso 10-8. I don't want to take that chance just to squeak by a decision with a minus 520 favorite.
Yeah. I mean, Kalen has a lot of knockouts prior to the UFC.
Yeah, big power.
Just like yeah, big power, and like you said, this girl got KO'd. What do you think that knockout prop's going to come in at? Probably like 7 or 8 to 1 at
Yeah,
least.
I'm taking a look. So right now, KO 11-1 on Ketlen Souza. 11-1. Yeah,
Yeah.
I will say though, I don't love betting KO prop. I did it with Hierarchy, by the way, in her last fight against Sam Hughes. Hughes is as tough as a $2 stake, so that was a mistake.
Yeah.
But like I generally don't like betting those. To me, this fight, I still kind of lean decision, but to me, it's going to be volume against damage, and these rounds are going to be very close of whether or not you like volume or you like damage. Because I see Souza being the aggressor, I see her landing the harder shots, but then at the same time, Hierarchy probably a higher output. I look, Hasmin's got huge output. Yeah, it's like over 18 significant strike attempts per minute. It's a lot of output, not super accurate, and definitely not powerful that we've seen so far. So like, I think Souza kind of reminds me of like a little Jessica Andrade. Like she's just short. She always is aggressing in the center. Like she if she had stepped on the gas more, probably could have finished Marnik Man, but Man also went the distance with Josephine Knudsen as well. So I think maybe we're underrating that win just a tiny bit in this spot.
Yeah,
So
and
my
there's no
decision. by the
There's
way.
no over under out yet on this on FanDuel.
So not on FanDuel, but minus 275 to go the distance on shadysportsbook.com.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. That under, if you get it over 2 to 1,
Yeah. The under
you
might be.
know,
I mean, yeah, the under. So the under is 2 to 1. Let's see what inside the distance for Souza is. It's 9 to 1. Even
yeah,
Hierarchies is pretty lengthy. It's plus 260 inside the distance. So there's a lot of unknown here, especially on the Souza side. I just don't trust Hierarchies' chin when she's now been dropped twice in 4 fights, and Sam Hughes is not going to drop girls. So the sample gets even smaller, effectively.
yep, yeah. I don't mind it, bro. I don't mind it at all.
You love long shot parlays. To me, Souza is the type of underdog where maybe if you don't bet her money line plus 350, maybe you sprinkle on some of those on the knockout, on the spectacular moment in that sort of parlay, and that's your exposure to her.
Yeah.
I think this fight. When I saw this fight and I saw these odds, I thought of you immediately because I thought Souza might be some creative that you could really
Hey,
link.
I'm down to put her in a knockout parlay, bro.
Yeah. Maybe she will be there since I'm so impassioned about it. She'll be
Put her
there.
with maybe an O'Malley knockout.
Yeah. Ooh, well, we'll talk about the main event because you and I haven't talked at all about where we lean in the
No,
main
and
event
I've been
thus
back
far.
and forth so much on it. Truthfully, over
Yeah.
the last month.
Maddie's too busy to notice, but some of you already know where I lean in the two title fights. You got that at the Home of Fight Discord. If you're watching here on Maddie's YouTube, we have a Discord link every week, so you can join us there. My picks, Maddie's picks, Clint McLean's picks for free. We also have Hey Jive and Nolan the Parlay. Another winning contender series night for Hey Jive last night as well. That guy cooks up absolute gas if you want to
Yeah.
pay for his excellent picks. A lot of stuff, good stuff. Home of Fight Discord, we'll have it in the description, so I wanted to make sure that I put that out there before we move on, Maddie, to a really, really awesome fight that I think should be on this main card. It's without a doubt one of the best 5 fights on this card here. A lightweight battle
Oh
between
yeah.
Manuel Torres and Ignacio Bahamondes. This fight is out of control, and you can really look no further than Bahamondes being the
Let's move
underdog.
on to the next one, Mike.
I've got him at
Next
plus
slide.
100 here. Against Torres, minus 128. El Loco, he's the guy that has all these first round finishes, just keeps piling them up. Maddie, right now, Torres is a slight favorite at minus 128. Bahamondes a slight underdog. Yeah, I've heard very smart sides on both sides of this fight. Where do you lean with Torres and Bahamondes, friend?
Bro, I've made so much money off Manuel Torres. I can't fade him, dude.
Yeah,
I just can't. And we hit the 6 to 1 submission prop in his last fight against Chris Duncan. You remember that?
I do.
You remember that?
Yep.
We hit the Torres
I do.
sub prop there. And then like the Nicholas Moto KO was nasty, that elbow. Like, bro, what more do we need to see? 4 straight round 1 finishes. Ignacio's good. He's got the height, the reach advantage. Trains a Bilal Muhammad. I think he's very, very good. I just think so highly of Manuel Torres. Like 29 years old.
Yep.
I think that this guy's going to be a title contender in a couple years. Like, I just think he's that high level. He can do everything.
Yeah.
You know, he can literally he can submit you, he can knock you out. He's got power. We haven't seen him tested past the round, past 3.5 minutes. We haven't seen him tested in the UFC, but I hate when people punish people for that. They're like, "Oh, I don't know what their gas tank's going to be."
Yeah.
We haven't seen it, but like I have to believe that he's going to do what he needs to do to win this fight. I couldn't believe these odds, by the way.
Yeah.
Like I would have him like minus 175 in this spot. He has all the finishing upside, in my opinion. And I like Bahamondes. Like the Ludovic Klein fight, like Klein is really good, right?
He is.
Went the distance with him. It wasn't like a lopsided fight. I like some of his wins. He didn't put away Trey Ogden, but he defended, his grappling, and he was able to like more than double his significant strikes. Ignacio's been very durable, right? I don't think he's never been finished in the UFC. So it's tough, but like Torres is finishing everyone. So I just think that Torres round 1-2 here, and I think the sub is live. Look how the 6'3" Ignacio here. Look at that fucking giraffe neck. He's coming for it, bro. I'm Torres by submission. I'm Torres round 1-2. So that way, if he knocks him out early, I still win money. If he subs him in round 1, 2, I sweep. I hit both bets. So I just believe in his finishing ability.
Yeah, I totally get that, Maddie. I played Torres money line at -120 yesterday, so I'm on the same side. Like, I came to a revelation looking at this fight. Like, Torres is a guy where I could never forgive myself if I took Bahamondes, given what we've seen. And I, like you said, I like Ignacio a lot. I think that Klein fight was a lot of wind out of his sails. He got taken down 3 times. He got controlled, which gives Torres a path. 3.26
Yeah,
takedowns per 15 for Manuel. Like you said, he is shown to do it all to this stage. Now, the only thing is that I don't believe Bahamondes has been subbed in UFC. He is a
right.
pretty good BJJ player himself. I was all over Torres sub because Chris Duncan, his last opponent, had not had a record of defending submissions against Cage Warriors guys. Torres
Yeah,
then Torres, though, had a bunch
and
of regional submissions, but hadn't shown it in UFC yet.
yeah.
I'm guessing Sub might be a little overvalued in this spot just because he did it last fight. That's my
I
only.
agree. I get all that, but
Yeah,
he did get subbed twice prior to the UFC. And I talked to Moicano on the podcast yesterday. He said that he's trained with Chris Duncan, and that is not at all an easy dude to submit. He's like,
interesting.
this dude Torres is the real deal. Now, again, Ignacio has been training with the champ, Bilal Muhammad, right? Like,
Yep.
they're very close. So, like, I've even heard some rumor. I don't know why he's taking this fight, bro.
Yeah,
I think it's a really dumb fight for Ignacio to take here. But he's a savage. He's taking this fight, and maybe it'll pay off for him. Because if he wins this fight and looks good doing it, like it's really going to boost his, maybe not his ranking, but it's going to boost his stock in general.
yeah,
So I think this is kind of a high risk, high reward fight for him to take here. But again, I just believe in Torres's based off the tape I've seen. The dude is a straight finisher. I'm going round 1, 2, and then I'm locking in the sub prop as well.
yeah. Um, I'll tell you my approach. So I've got the money line right. My sprinkle here will be decision plus 650. You and I are a little split in
Really?
that. I just and now you say I do have gas tank concerns myself because we haven't really seen him prolonged.
Yeah.
I just think Bahamondes is a guy that because of his chin, his durability, and his submission skills, is going to be really hard to finish. He's lost twice in UFC, both by decision, and then Torres favored here. I feel like Manuel probably has a pretty big first round. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I look at the takedowns for Torres, and I think he's going to be able to get
Preston
him.
Parsons subbed Ignacio, by the way.
Yeah, interesting.
Preston Parsons at Titan FC back in 2016. So again, that's a long time ago. And
How
then
old?
2017, he got rear naked choked.
Oh,
But both times, round 1 submission.
yeah, I know, but Bob Mundt is like
It's a
19
long time
years
ago.
old.
I
Yeah.
get it. It's a long time ago.
He's
But
like,
who has he fought since then that
Yep.
even are submission threats? Trey Ogden.
kept him at distance. Yeah, so we didn't really get to see. Like Ogden, by the way, fought
There
that
was just
fight
such a
so
skill
bad.
difference on the feet between
Absolutely.
Ignacio and Trey Ogden.
Yeah,
That skill difference is way different in this matchup. Like
agreed.
Torres can get the striking going and then transition into the takedowns, or
Yeah,
because he's dangerous everywhere. So this will be a really good fight. I'm excited to watch it. I can't get there on a decision with you. Although I think that is Ignacio's path. Like if I think
Sure.
a decision, he stays kind of keeps him at bay, uses the reach advantage, the height advantage. Maybe he can win by decision, but
Yeah.
I think Torres inside the distance.
yeah. I think this is the point where when you talk about buy sell spots, I want to sell Torres round 1 here, even though I like him because he's not going to finish everybody in the first
Yeah.
round. I may have to get creative on how I want to do it. That I like him to win. Maybe decision is a little. Boy, Maddie, though, I tell you, this guy comes out and he puts on a dominant performance against like a round 3 finish. His cardio holds too. Holy crap, is this guy a title sort of contender, even at lightweight? Like, what can't he do if his gas tank holds through?
Yeah.
We've seen him so far. He's an unbelievable talent.
He's the real deal, bro. The Chris Duncan fight to me,
Yeah, Duncan's a good
I
win.
think the Chris Duncan fight was an equal test to this. Like, I thought very highly of Chris Duncan. I mean, the dude was 11-1 going into that fight.
Yep.
He was 11-1, and I thought very highly of him. Especially his durability.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Like
We'll
like
see.
Moicano said, yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe if you like the sub, I get it because Bahamondes has had those like issues. He certainly got controlled on the ground a lot by Klein. Maybe if I talk you off round one, I'll have done my job at least because I feel like I just get it. This is a little prolonged, but I still like Torres here. I still like his skill set. So
Round two sub probably pays real good.
I bet it does. Maybe I can talk you into it for a sprinkle, or if you do a
Yeah.
round two prop or parlay or something like that. But why don't we move on here? I like that we kind of get to space the fights out a little bit more. If we have like 14 to talk about, we kind of got to cram them in and move. Here's another one, ranked bantamweight. This one's the featured prelim before we get onto the pay-per-view card. Irene Aldana, Norma Dumont. As we sit here right on Wednesday, it's a pick'em. What else could we ask for? I was able to crank my model out, got a result for this one, and actually bet it earlier in the week at a different number. The home of fight picks guys are split on this fight as well. So
Mhm.
arguments on both sides, a little bit like the last one, Maddie. It's a pick 'em, so the question's simple. Who you got?
I'm Aldana here, but I want to. I want. I'm interested to hear what your model likes.
Yeah, I was able to model it. I bet a different number, which is actually incredibly important given how this fight looks now. I've got Dumont at 52.8% likely to win. So if you get minus 110, you barely squeak into value range. I've got the fight 81.7% likely to go the distance. I think the big differentiation point here is that Aldana, in recent fights against good competition, has been willing to get taken down and even more unfortunately play off her back. We saw that in the Amanda Nunes fight. And to me, that's a bad strategy against someone that I've recently dubbed went blanket Norma because she's got 9 takedowns in her last 2 fights. It's kind of a difference in style from how we saw her break into UFC. She's kind of leaned more into her wrestling, does it very well, 68% takedown accuracy. Dumont, her analytics, I know they're going to be a little inflated because she had all of those crappy fights against Danielle Wolf, against Asmund Ladd, Ashley Evans Smith, like the carcasses of women's featherweight, right, that no longer exists anymore. It's going to be a little inflated, but at the end of the day, I think Aldana's 36. She's at a negative striking differential in 4 of her last 5 fights. I know that this is Mexico night, and Dumont may get booed out of the sphere, but I do think she's able to take her down. I think she's able to control her in this fight, and I trust Norma. That I think she'll be competitive at distance here. The striking distance striking metrics favor Norma a little bit, but then she's able to mix it up, and I don't think Aldana can. So I like Dumont. I could be talked into an Aldana sub hedge, and we'll talk about why. But why did you lean Aldana initially in this spot?
Yeah, I mean, I think she can get taken down, but I think she can get back up to the feet.
Yep.
I just like her. You know, the opposition she's faced, like Amanda Nunes.
Yeah.
Like, come on, Norma Dumont to Amanda Nunes. Like, she didn't get she survived against Amanda Nunes, right?
Yep.
So she lost a unanimous decision in that fight. But I know she's 36, but I just think Norma Dumont doesn't have any finishing upside, in my opinion. I mean, maybe a submission, but
Yeah.
she has no knockouts in her career.
No
So I like
career
the finishing upside of Aldana, and I like just the power on the feet. I think she can do enough there, and if she does get taken down, I think how many takedowns did you say Norma had in her last fight?
No,
9,
9 in her last 2 fights.
which
Nine.
means
In her
that
last,
which
yeah.
means her opponent's getting up constantly.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I just think Aldana can do enough on the feet to either edge out a decision or get maybe even get a TKO. I
Yeah.
mean, she has some impressive finishes.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to back your point, what I would say is that it worries me for Dumont that she doesn't have any career submission attempts, and I feel like Aldana has really been improving her BJJ, training with Alexa Grasso, Diego Lopes at that gym in Mexico. So I'm a little worried that Dumont may not know how to grapple at all when she's faced Jermaine Randami. She's faced, like, you look at the girls she's faced, Chelsea Chandler, Danielle Wolf. It's like none of these girls are going to submit her, and I bet Aldana sub pays pretty darn big because she's got just like one career
She's
attempt.
got
So
3 of them, bro. She's got 3 of them.
she's got 3 wins by sub.
3 wins by sub.
Must have been a long, long time ago. But like
Yeah,
the tendency's there too, Maddie. So if you like,
yeah,
I get sub in this fight for Aldana. And the other thing is Dumont was knocked down by Carol Hosa. Aldana showed to have pretty good power. She put Yana Santos away.
yeah,
Really, I do think that none of the losses or performances where Aldana has been quote unquote bad have aged poorly. When Holly Holm was a long time ago when Holly was still in her prime. you mentioned Nunes, and then Macy Chasson. She got the win in that fight via third round up kick. She was probably headed to lose it on the scorecards, but Chasson has looked really good in her last three fights.
Exactly.
I think the case for Aldana is there. That's why my model is still very close to this betting line. It's not a hammer at -110 apiece, but I do think Norma is the more versatile, well-rounded MMA fighter, and this one's going to be a sweat. I think one way or another.
Yeah. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, enough women's MMA. Let's get to one of my favorite prop guys of the week here to open the main card. And you got to think to yourself, what is this fight doing on the main card? We got Osbourne on a pay-per-view main card. He's been finished in 3 of the last 4 fights. I think the answer is Ronaldo Lazy Boy Rodríguez on the other side. Rodríguez with a wild back and forth fight with Dennis Bondar ended up getting a second round submission. And on Mexican Heritage Night, they're going to give him a shot here on the pay-per-view main card. And I think it's to make a statement, but odds makers aren't as short. He's only -140 in this spot, so not even really prohibitive, Maddie. What do you agree with my lean on Lazy Boy here, or are you thinking maybe a dog shot?
Yeah, I like Lazy Boy submission or decision probably. I just think he's gonna be more aggressive. His takedown accuracy scares me a little bit.
Yeah.
50% takedown accuracy. One of those guys that doesn't have the greatest wrestling, but has those vicious submissions once he is on the ground. Osbourne just got subbed 2 fights in a row. I mean, come on. Like 2 fights in a row. Like you're just asking for me not to, to get screwed on this bet. Like, I mean, he's got finished by Manuel Kopp, Tyson Nam, round 1. Dvalishvili. I mean, he's been finished. What, 1, 2, 3, 4 of his last 6 or 7 fights. Like, and then Brian Kelleher finished him too with that guillotine back in 2020. I mean, the dude's been subbed. He's been subbed 3 times in the UFC out of like 8 fights.
Yeah,
8 or 9 fights.
Maddie, I am in disbelief. So, by the way, we've got FanDuel
What
props
is?
for this
Yeah.
guy. You ready? What Lazy Boy submission is? I can't believe it. I literally cannot believe it. It's +350. So if you play round 1-2 sub, if you go to the extrapolated out further, round 1 sub +750, round 2 is 13-1. I love my employer at FanDuel. Does anybody know that Osbourne can't grapple at all? The dude is a white belt. He was controlled the entire fight by Asu Almabayev. Jafel Filio ended up getting him. Rodríguez showed tremendous, not only like ability, but also heart. He was able to reverse Dennis Bondar 3 times when he got taken down and reverse his way back on top. That's one of the hardest things to do in a grappling exchange. Empty submission attempts. I mean, you'll see. I think even Sean O'Malley's got some of those. We'll talk about later. But like, I'm much more impressed by the reversals. I think Bondar maybe a little bit fraudulent, not a super high level guy, but Osbourne has this shortcoming with his grappling. Ode's not an efficient striker, -0.98 striking success rate. I think the one way Lazy Boy loses this fight is if he plays around too long at distance and gets caught with something. That's the only way that I see him losing this fight.
Yeah.
Because if he goes to some sort of grappling strategy, I'd be stunned if he's not able to have success to either win on the cards or find a sub.
It feels too easy, honestly.
It's weird.
That's the part that scares me. Is I'm like, why would that be +350 when this dude's been subbed 3 out of 9 fights in the UFC?
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I think odds makers are echoing my sentiment by the shortest individual outcome in this fight is Osbourne by KO +280. And then the rest of them are kind of ambiguous. It's Rodríguez sub +350, decision for Lazy Boy +380, decision for Osbourne +380, and then Lazy Boy KO +410. So, like, they aren't really sure about how Rodríguez gets it done if he does here.
Yeah. Yeah. That
Those are
is
kind of my
crazy.
favorite boards, dude. Where odds makers throw. We had this with what fight was it? It was the Ultimate Fighter. It was Myron Santos and Ofley. Odds makers were not sure like what was going to happen there. We got a pretty good number on Myron Santos
Yeah.
KO as a result. Like I stuck on it. I played nearly 4 units on Rodriguez's money line on Monday, and I think I'm gonna have to add. By the way, inside the distance for Lazy Boy +145. I mentioned Osbourne had been finished a ton recently, so +145, not bad if you don't want to pay the juice
Yeah.
there. And then sub +350 KO +410. So there's gold here somewhere.
Where'd you get the money line at?
-130.
Yeah, it's a good number.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's tough, bro. I mean maybe the knockout is live too, right? The inside the distance for it to only
Yes.
be plus 145.
Yeah. Well, Osbourne, we saw chinned at distance. I think it was Cop that got him at distance.
Right.
And Tyson Nam did as well. Tyson Nam knocked him out
That's
first
true.
round. Both of those first round, by the way. So like maybe Rodríguez round one of this fight, you
And
get
it's
subs, you get
it's a
KO.
Mexican card. Maybe he just wants to put on a show for the fans and knock them out cold.
Dude, I think this is a showcase. It's really weird to me that he's only a minus 140 favorite. I think UFC wants him to win in an exciting fashion.
Such a weird number, bro.
It's
I
so
mean,
weird.
Osborne goes out and beats Charles Johnson though. Like he just it's just weird.
Yeah, Charles has had some weird cage pushy type of fights, and that was one of them. I was big on CJ Moneyline that week, and it did not end up paying off.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm falling for the trap. I mean, maybe hook
It
line.
does feel like a trap. I'll be
Yeah,
honest, but like
yeah.
it just
I mean,
I don't care. I'm still betting it.
I mean, Maddie, you and I have had this talk recently, and I used to. I think this is how I've evolved as a bettor, not only in MMA but everything. Is like sometimes chalk is chalk for a reason. And if it feels too easy, maybe it's because you know personally a lot more than maybe odds makers are looking specifically into this fight. Like maybe the guy that set this line didn't watch every second of Rodriguez Bonda. Maybe he didn't see the reversals. Maybe those aren't official stats that are kept in like general stats. So it's like,
Yeah.
this might be a little bit softer in this spot than Sean O'Malley versus Merab, which has a lot of attention, eyeballs, things like that. So maybe Maddie, we're falling for the trap on the right side.
I don't know, bro.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Hopefully, I don't. My goal is to avoid putting you in a marina of piss, and I don't want you to go overexposed to lazy boy like I am, and then sit there and be like, man, I fell for the trap as these next guys are making the walkout. Because as we move on to the next fight here, Daniel Zellhuber taking on Esteban Ribovics. Man, this is a absolute banger of 155 prospects. Like, I think Torres Bahamondes is a great fight. I also think this is a great fight. Now, odds makers are a little more convinced in this one. Zellhuber minus 250 after 3 straight wins, but Ribovics coming off that really sick knockout of Terrence McKinney, shinbone meat dome, and T-Rex was not long for UFC St. Louis. So these guys both have started to make their name a little bit. It's kind of weird they're matched up and like we're gonna kill one of the hype trains, but we are gonna do just that. So Maddie, are you playing favorite or underdog here? And do you have a specific like prop in mind for one of them?
I'm dog here. I see everybody on Zellhuber this week. I've seen a lot of people on him. Which side are you on?
I like Ribovics. I'm underdog too.
Thank
I think
God, bro. I don't understand this.
yeah.
I really don't understand it. I think he's super well rounded. I'll tell you what, that fucking head kick against McKinney was special, bro.
Yep.
That head kick was insane. I mean, I get McKinney. He's getting put away a lot these days early by a lot of fighters
Yeah.
in round 1, 2. But, man, I think he's very well rounded.
Yeah.
He's got 5 wins by submission. Or he's got 5 wins by submission, 7 by knockout.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why he's a near 2-1 dog in this spot. I don't get it. I think it's a very close fight.
Yeah, I'm with you too. And I think the key differentiation point for me is not only am I betting matchups, but I'm looking at particularly Zellhuber lacks what Esteban Ribovics has struggled with thus far. He got taken down 11 times by Loic Radjabov. We've only seen Zellhuber attempt 3 takedowns in UFC. He landed one of them. He's not really been that guy, even though we saw a submission a couple fights ago, but a little bit, again, like I talk about with Lopes, much more so willing to use his BJJ once it's on the ground, not really try to wrestle to get it there. And that's where Ribovics has struggled. I think some people, they see the range of Zellhuber, 8-inch reach advantage here. It is going to be tough for Ribovics to overcome, and like this will be a unique challenge for his distance management compared to what we've seen so far. But like Ribovics is the type of guy that'll bite down on his mouthpiece, close the distance. He will really bully you at times. And Zellhuber, I think he's just been prone to be bullied a little bit. He got dropped in that fight by Christos Jagos early. Remember, I had a bet on Zellhuber in that fight. I was very nervous when that didn't go his way right away. Lost at distance to Trey Ogden. It was a weird performance. Lucas Almeida, we've seen him at 145. Not a ton of UFC success. He ended up just squeaking out a decision on the Contender Series. So like Zellhuber can kind of fight close. Even his last fight against Prado, he had him bloodied and bruised, but he didn't end up getting the finish in that fight. I think Ribovics is a guy that is more prone to separate. I feel better about his cardio just ever so slightly. I would line this fight closer to how Torres Bahamondes looks, where I would make
Yeah.
Zellhuber a small favorite. He's a huge favorite here. I got to take plus 190 with Esteban. And at this point, I'm just waiting for the number.
I'll tell you one thing, bro. It's scary to do this on a Mexican card, but Esteban by decision
Yeah.
plus 410. I really like that number. Just could be, a really close fight that could go either way. And,
Yep.
Both guys historically very durable. Zellhuber never been finished. Neither guy's ever been finished. Neither guy ever been finished in MMA.
Yep.
So I think Esteban by decision. You just said it. You like his cardio.
Yep.
He's got to close the distance, make it a dirty, make it a dog fight. Land some bigger damaging shots, maybe get some control time. With the grappling, I think he's live on the scorecards at plus 410 here.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at the round props here because, over 2.5 is minus 186 as well. Zellhuber points is plus 135. Ribovics plus 410. We really think he's that much less likely to win a
I
decision.
like that for a crazy decision parlay here. Like maybe throw in one or two other decision, one or two other fighters by decision that are a little more likely to hit.
Yeah.
And you have a nice little 30, 40. They're probably a nice little 30 to 1 parlay.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a decision in mind. It's one of my least confident picks at this point. Maybe we could always go to Souza by decision as well if you don't want to go KO. Yeah, it's kind of a tough card. It's kind of a tough card to build these parlays because there's just not that many fights to choose from.
Only 10 fights is
yeah,
only 10 fights is tough, bro.
Yeah, we might have to intermingle by necessity this week because it's just kind of But like Ribovics, 11 percentage points higher striking accuracy, lands more significant strikes per minute. Not a bad bargain in what you project to be a striking match if you can kind of block out the reach disadvantage. Maybe Ribovics does. If Zellhuber ends up covering a sweaty decision at minus 250, I'm not going to be mad at betting Ribovics in that spot. I may not win the bet, but I'll have done what I expected to happen.
Right.
So I'm with you, dude. I'm glad you're on the underdog because
we're on a couple dogs together, right?
Yeah. You talked me into Cháirez. You talked me into Cháirez.
Cháirez, and then
I was trying to talk you into Souza.
Just Cháirez, yeah.
You don't like Souza, Maddie?
Oh no, I'm about Souza. It's just how we play her. Probably just money line, I guess.
I mean, plus 350 could not have to get greedy.
I mean, that'd be fading 2 Mexicans, right, on the dog side.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because we remember the card in Canada where literally one Canadian fighter won the entire one Canadian male card. Yeah, they set these fights up, but you got to deliver. And sometimes with that comes these guys are looking past the opponent that they're put in front of them, right? Like they assume, hey, this is a spot for me to win. And I look past and watch it be lazy boy, and then I'm in shambles and bankrupt. But we will move forward here because Maddie, bangers only from here, man. Third to last fight, Diego
Lopes. This is the people's main event right here.
Yeah, Diego Lopes with a badass maneuver to fight Danny Ige on 2 hours' notice because the guy on the left there, Brian Ortega, ends up getting ill. UFC says, hey, they want to run it back. Maddie, I've actually changed my opinion from when you and I talked about this fight earlier, and I had been thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, but the more I think about this fight and see how this whole situation has transpired, I'm more directed toward one fighter. So have you changed at all from when we broke down Ortega Lopes in the first fight?
You won't find me caught dead fading Diego Lopes, bro. This dude is the man. This dude, he almost subbed Movsar, right?
Yep.
He's never been finished. He's on a 4-fight tear. And, I talked about this on the Show Me the Money pod yesterday with Moicano. Everyone's kind of lower on him now because of the Dan Ige fight. And Moicano brought up a very good point about that fight. He said that it was harder for Diego Lopes in that fight than Dan Ige for a guy coming in on short notice because he said that Dan Ige lives in Vegas.
Yep.
Dan Ige is constantly in shape and just comes right in. And think about it. For Lopes, it's a completely different skill set of a guy he now has to fight. He then had multiple weight cuts. It went up to catch weight or whatever, whatever happened.
Yep.
There's a lot of confusion and stress and stuff for Diego Lopes. And then he comes out there and he just strikes with Dan Ige pretty much for 3 rounds. He landed 1 takedown. He outstruck Dan Ige,
Yep.
and he didn't put Dan Ige away, but nobody has put Dan Ige away. Like, no one's knocking out Dan Ige. So the way I look at this fight now is I think Diego Lopes is the worst possible matchup for Brian Ortega, right? He's young. He's a younger version of Ortega with better power in his hands, in my opinion. He's more durable, and I just think he can get this done in a variety of ways. I'm playing the knockout here. What I saw Yair Rodríguez do to Brian Ortega in that first round, I think Lopes will finish the job. We don't have to worry about Diego gassing or getting in a bad position grappling wise after not putting Ortega away, because Ortega somehow survives some of these fights, and then you have to worry about him subbing you after he survives. I don't think we have to worry about that with Diego. So he's the bigger guy, the taller guy, more reach, younger guy, more durable, and has more power. I don't understand. What am I missing here? Like, could Ortega squeeze out a decision win? Maybe, but I think he should be a well over 2-1 favorite here.
Yeah, and Maddie, you were on Diego KO. I remember it well last time, but
Yeah.
do we have a clip here of Renata?
I don't know if are we playing this clip.
Are
Even
we
though
playing?
It's like 4-1, I believe. You think he can find Ortega's chin in this?
I think so. Even though Brian Ortega chin is solid, right?
Yeah.
He got beat by Max Holloway like 2019,
Yeah.
a long time ago, but still
And he survived.
he survived like 5
Oh,
rounds.
no, it was the 4th round TKO. Yeah. They stopped that fight.
They stopped the fight, but it was
Yeah.
not like he was.
Right. It was, yeah.
Yeah, he was still fighting. So
But we've seen him get stopped by the hands. And then the Yair Rodriguez fight. Hold on.
yeah,
Yeah,
he did this
basically
fight. He got
Moicano, you can
injured,
pause
right?
this
The
fight.
one he lost.
Basically,
Okay, thank you.
he brings up another good point here. Like, Ortega has a lot of miles on him, a lot of damage. You go
Yes.
4 rounds of Max Holloway.
Yes.
You know, he's been through the ringer, bro. And I mean, I don't want to say the R word and say he's retiring, but I mean, he's going to go up in weight. I think after this fight, if he loses, he's not going to. I don't think there's much for him at this weight class after this fight. I just think that Diego has massive power in his hands, very explosive. Just put that uppercut he landed on Sadiq Youssef, put his lights out.
Sure.
I mean, Sadiq was, a guy that is not easy to put away. I don't think he had never been knocked out in the UFC prior to that fight, right? He went 3 rounds of Arnold Allen, Sadiq Youssef.
Yes, he did.
Goes 5 rounds of Edson Barbosa. Like, he's going 3 to 5 rounds with good strikers.
Yeah.
Diego Lopes comes in there and puts his lights out in 1 round. Like, I think we're underestimating how good this dude is. And I've seen him live in crowds, like when he's not fighting, just live at UFC events. The fans love him, bro.
Yes.
Like, kids love him. Like, he's an absolute star in the making, dude. He needs, like, I think if he dials in on his English and really buys into everything, I think the UFC can really push this kid. So I think he gets a round 1 or 2 knockout here against Ortega is my prediction. But
Yeah.
I did put 2 units on him. You guys know me. I don't put out a lot of early picks because I'm exact outcome driven, right? Like, I like the props, the long shots. So I don't really need to put out plays super early in the week or even weeks prior. This is one I did. I got him at minus 170 or 175, and I took Lopes to win 2 units. So I just think that I don't want to say the words better everywhere, but I think he's a younger, better version of Brian Ortega. So I'm going to trust that he either gets it done by finish or gets it done on the scorecards here.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting, Maddie, is you were on Lopes KO when we previewed this fight before. I liked Ortega, and I actually liked him later. Like, I played a decision prop that was voided. I'm on the other side now. And Lopes, you say people are down on him. I had him at minus 120 in my model before the Ige fight. Now, including those statistics in his performance there, I've got him at minus 150, and Ortega hasn't fought. That's what it thought of how he did to Danny Ige at that sort of level of competition.
Yeah.
No penalty for not finishing Danny Ige. And, there's just too much weirdness around T-City for me, where he now comes out this week and says, oh, no, after this fight, I'm still going to 155. This feels like UFC is saying, Ortega, get your butt in there, go lose to Diego Lopes,
100%.
prop him up as a title contender, and then you can go do
100%.
whatever you want, whether it's
I'm
retirement.
glad you said that because, dude, that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
This is like checking the box for Ortega. He's got to take this fight, get it over with. Like, he really screwed the UFC by pulling out of the 303 one.
Yeah.
And then, again, Ige is a dog, bro. Like if you outstrike Ige and it's a 3-round fight on the feet,
Yeah,
and you're supposed to be a grappler in Diego,
yeah.
that's impressive to me. I don't think Ortega has anything to offer Lopez on the feet. I
Yeah,
really
I
don't.
I think the speed is going to be the theme there. T City. Now the thing is, my initial diagnosis hasn't really changed. Lopez can sometimes play off of his back. I think he'd be less willing to do that against a guy like Ortega. We could see more of a advancement to get to his feet. You're talking about knockout or sub, bro. I see inside the distance sitting right here at this unnamed sportsbook plus 175. If we get anything close to that, I'm just going to throw 2 units on Diego
Bro,
ITD.
we got it on FanDuel.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. I forgot.
Lopez by finish plus 170. That's a great
Awesome.
number.
Yep.
And then here's the real bet. Here's the real bet to take. You guys ready? Lopez by knockout plus 310. But here's what I really like. I'm telling you guys right now, I will be playing this in a parlay. Give me Diego Lopez round 1 knockout plus 700. I'll see you at the cash
Woo.
counter if you tail that shit. That is
Woo.
smacking. I'm taking that round 1. I'll probably just play round 1. I'll probably play round 1 knockout. And I might parlay that with
Rosas.
maybe like Rosas, Lopez, maybe even Lazy Boy.
Yes, dude. That was the other round one.
3-leg round 1 parlay there. We go Rosas Jr., Lopez. I'll probably just go finish, right?
Like
Round 1 finish.
Yeah, go finish. Yeah,
Lopez, Raul, and Lazy Boy.
I like it. I
Round
really
1
do.
parlay. I think
I
that's
like that.
hitting, dude.
I think we let's check it, but we might make that the official show long shot.
The problem is we don't have the Rosas number, but we can estimate it though.
We will estimate it because it should be out pretty shortly on FanDuel for a card like this. That Maddie, that shit might be smacking, which is fantastic news. And I'm with you, dude. I actually have Lopez's decision here close to 0% because the way Ortega is willing to take damage relative to Lopez's submission and knockdown rates, my model says there's no way T City's making it to the distance. And like
Yeah.
you said, I think his durability is fleeting. He's on the wrong side of 30. He's taking a lot of miles. Like I think you're paying for durability that might not be there if you're taking Lopez's money line instead of inside the distance.
Yeah. And
So-
again, Ortega is so tough. So, don't anyone that's watching this go put your mortgage on the round 1. But again, I saw what Yair did to him in round 1, bro.
I gotta ask you, by the way, am I live here? If you are right, Lopez round 1 finish here. I've got a ticket on Lopez 75-1 to be the champ at featherweight at the end of the year. Any chance you
Absolutely live. Absolutely.
trust him into Taporia, and then maybe he can somehow finish Ilya. I have a feeling I would model Ilya to win in that fight.
I think Diego's like the worst matchup for Ilya.
Yeah. Yeah, Diego's an awful matchup for everybody because the dude has hammers for fists and has crazy good BJJ. like
I mean, Ilya maybe could get on the inside and box him up, but I think Diego's better jiu-jitsu, even though Ilya's jiu-jitsu is very good, very high level. I don't think anyone is better than like pure finishing submissions than Diego, dude.
This dude was seconds from breaking Evloev's arm and entering the top 5 on 5 days' notice. He's an animal, and like the Ige fight, I like Diego Lopez a lot. So
Yeah. Shit, dude! I didn't even think about Torres. I kind of want to put Torres in the round 1.
don't do that to me when I'm saying I think that round 1. I really like Lazy Boy round 1, so I endorsed, and then Rosas I'm good with. But Maddie, let's get to the handing out straps. That way we can get people on their way. They've been hanging with us. We appreciate how many live viewers we got right now, Maddie. Can you see?
We got 1,500 live viewers. Guys, if you're watching on X right now, come on over to the Maddie Betts YouTube channel. Way better watch experience. We're live. We're gonna stay consistent. I think moving forward, every Wednesday night, 6 Eastern, we're gonna break down the weekend's UFC card. But come on over to YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button. And I'm also going to have NFL shows and NFL content on this channel as well if you watch that.
Yeah, awesome. So 1,500 people are going to see us break down this title fight. This one, we don't have to do as much breaking down. We've already kind of seen it twice, but there are interesting differences as Alexa Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko now rematch in the trilogy. I'm guessing that this one will end here. I can't see a way that we get a fourth fight out of this one,
Yeah.
but maybe they draw again. Who knows? But you never know in UFC. But Alexa Grasso still has the belt. It was by way of a horrible 10-8 scorecard that probably means Valentina should have it. Doesn't mean too much when they would have been split one apiece, and we probably would have got this fight anyway. I think it's just where the belt sits right now. So, Maddie, Alexa Grasso's taken a bit of steam this week. She was minus 118 on Sunday. She's up to minus 140 here. Curious which way you're leaning when this money line is far from prohibitive between these two ladies that have had pretty close fights already twice.
Look, again, look what typically happens in these high level fights when there's constant rematches and
Yep.
you know, and then the older fighter gets older every single time. I gotta go Grasso. You know, I just think that she got very fortunate, if we're being honest, in the last fight. But that doesn't change what's going to happen in this fight, right? If you scored it for Grasso, that's fine. But I think the way in which it was scored, refresh my memory on that, Austin, because I was talking on the pod yesterday about it, and like,
Yeah.
it's just been a while and I forget. But I remember the way that it was scored with the draw. It was like shouldn't have been possible.
Yeah, so the judge that was scored it round 5 10-8 for Grasso came out and said they made a mistake on round 4, got it wrong, and didn't want her to lose her belt. So it was
Yeah.
it was outside of protocol. That round was not a 10-8 round by any stretch of the imagination. Like it would have been as if I'm trying to think of like a round last if round 5 of Burns Brady last week was a 10-8, we would be stunned because like there was no way that was a
That's
10-8
right.
round.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what
Exactly.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, Burns Brady, 36-year-old versus the 31-year-old. It's tough, bro. It's tough. Like I see, there was what was the one championship fight where it was similar in age and it was a very close fight. They did the rematch. I guess Davison Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno, right?
Sure. Yeah, I had a
In a
different
way that reminds me of this fight, right? Obviously, that was like a quadrilogy or some shit. The
yeah.
first fight was a draw.
Yeah.
It reminds me a little bit about this fight, right? Like Valentina's Davison, Alexa is Moreno, and you know Alexa is she's very good, bro. She's 31, she's only getting better, whereas Valentina, you know, is starting to get up there in age. I like Alexa money line. It is starting to get a little pricey because this is a very close fight, so you have to be careful. But how would you play her here if you wanted to stay away from the money line? First of all, do you like Grasso?
So I to answer that question, I already played Grasso. I gave it out to our friends in the Discord, and we have the Discord channel,
Yeah.
by the way, highlighted now. I gave it out on Sunday at minus 110. That's when I had it in value range. I've got Alexa at minus 120. So a little tougher sell now, but I'm with you on just my model's looking at age, it's looking at efficiency, and now you think really more dangerous fighter. Grasso dropped Valentina in the last fight. I think Grasso's BJJ is arguably top 3 in this division. Like makes an improvement fight to fight, and we see her every time we see her. She's like a little bit more jacked, a little bit more, developed. Like you can see the improvement. I was going to give you a couple of trilogy fights where I felt like the older fighter just ran out of steam in the third one. What about Miocic and Cormier? What about Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman? Right, where the last fight it felt like Usman was a little old, and that was kind of the difference. And I wonder if that's what befits Valentina, especially when she's had to lean on her wrestling lately. 10 takedowns in her last 3 fights. At 36, do you want a 25-minute fight where she's trying to wrestle and Grasso's got dangerous BJJ? I think Alexa is going to emphatically make a statement in this fight. I've got her 34.9% by decision. How about this? 17.5% by submission. Some of the equal matchup submission is kind of boosting that up. 17.5%, and Grasso by sub is plus 440. So I bet, let me see what I've got it
Yeah.
as. 17, I've got it at 17.5. I've got it at plus 470, so not quite showing value, but I think sub decision might be a way to eat out some of
I was just gonna say those exact words. I know
yeah.
she got the knockdown last fight, but that was her first knockdown in the UFC
Yeah, it was a little bit of a
for
stumble too.
for Grasso. Yeah, I'm with you. So let's see what the double chance is. I would imagine it's like plus 130 or so.
I bet it's lower than that. Yeah, double
Probably
chance
even money. Yeah,
minus
let me see.
105. It's a good number. That's a good number relative to minus 140.
That's true because if she knocks her out, you can just take my money. It's like
Yeah.
what was the first fight in the Contender Series last night?
Oh, yeah, I forget her. La Framboise was taken. I forget
Yeah.
the name of the girl that ended up winning. Calieri, I want to say.
Yeah,
Either
so I
either
had again. I didn't have official picks on the contender series, but I just asked the group chat last second. I was like, "Who wins and how?"
we
And
all
they were
went
like,
KO
"Oh,
decision.
this person wins by KO or what was it? KO or no, it was decision or submission." And they
Decision
got
or
a
KO,
knock
bro, and she subbed her.
decision or KO, and they got a submission. So I literally picked the exact way. I lost because I missed the one method I didn't
I'm
pick.
glad I had money line, bro, because I didn't see sub coming in that fight. So
Yeah,
I'm glad I got lucky because that I did not see that coming. But like, if you want to pay the piper, maybe Maddie, if we do a safe parlay, if we both like Alexa, maybe
yeah,
money line is a consideration for that.
right.
But like, I'm totally with you. I think maybe Shevchenko might have been the better fighter up until the sub in the first fight. She was the better fighter last time, but now that may not be the case. And I'm guessing Valentina is probably pretty public here because of those first two fights and her name value. Like, I'm guessing
Yeah,
that like Joe Schmo that goes to bet on this fight sees Valentina at plus 110 and thinks that's an absolute steal. So there's some of that baked in here
yeah.
too. So I've got the fight, by the way, 68.6% to start round four. So like it longer, just like the first two. Maybe round 4, 5, 7 decision might be the props that make my card.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see Alexa getting a sub, but I think she'll probably win by decision.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I would stagger it that way where I lean decision too. So, good that we're in agreement in one title fight, right? Why don't we try to keep it going? Because I genuinely, Maddie, have no idea where you lean on this fight between Sean O'Malley and Merab Dvalishvili. So long in the making because these two have been talking. Sean, didn't Merab take Sean's jacket if I remember correctly? Like these guys have been yapping at each other since the Aljamain Sterling events took place. Now he'll try to get revenge, Merab will, for his teammate Aljo Sterling. Sugar Sean, though, taking money. He was minus 122 on FanDuel on Sunday. He's now minus 140 when guys like Clint McLean, who we love and respect here on the Homo Fight team, he threw 5 units on Merab. The house is divided on this one because Merab is a really great fighter as an underdog, Maddie. Which way do you lean, I guess, on the money line? But I'm guessing you have a prop here that stands out because it is such a fight with so many outcomes. Like, how do you see this fight one playing out?
Sean O'Malley by submission plus 1900.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You know the sad thing is right when I said that, you don't know, and the chat doesn't know if I'm fucking serious or joking.
Nope.
Because that's 100% something I would play. Here's the thing, bro. We keep hearing O'Malley has good BJJ. He's a brown belt.
Yeah.
We don't really get to see it. Merab is going to shoot a million takedowns in this fight. I asked Moicano on the pod yesterday. I was like, what would you do in this fight if you were Merab against O'Malley? Like, if you were literally in Merab's shoes, what would you do? Because Moicano's a grappler, right? I wanted to hear his opinion. He's like, bro, I would shoot the first second. Like, literally the fight would start and I would shoot the first second. And the problem I have, if Merab was a finisher on the ground, I think that it would be such an easy play to take him here.
Sure.
Because he's going to get the takedowns. Unless he gets caught right away, he's going to get takedowns in this fight. I know O'Malley has good movement on the feet and whatnot, but Merab is a machine, bro. Unless you're Jose Aldo, you're not stopping his takedowns. So I think he's going to come forward, get the takedowns. The problem is that it's a 5-round fight. He doesn't get finishes on the ground for the most part. And every single round, it starts on the feet again.
Yep.
And you're asking Merab to not get caught by a sniper for 5 straight rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's very difficult it's very hard to ask him to do that.
Yes.
And he could do it, and you could play him by decision, you can make money. I can't play O'Malley money line, not after it was plus 120, plus 150, not for 2 months, guys. If you're betting O'Malley money line this week, you're a sucker. I'm sorry. Like, it could still hit, it could still be the right play, but like this dude was a dog for like 2 months.
Yep.
And you wait till fight week, and now he's a minus 140 favorite, and you bet on it. Like, that's just dumb. It's just a very bad spot to bet on him on the money line here. But again, I think if you want to play O'Malley here, you just go inside the distance. I think if you want to play Merab here, you go by decision. He just doesn't have the finishing upside. I've been on the Merab side late. Dude, I had like 30-1, 40-1. Remember in the Peter Yan fight, because that was a 5-rounder, right? Which fight was a 5-rounder?
It was Petr Yan, bro, and he just shut him down over the course of 5 rounds.
Yeah, and dude, I remember I had let's see, I had Merab like rounds 3, 4, 5 against Petr Yan
Yeah,
because I was like, he's just gonna, put so much pressure on him, and that's what he did. But he just doesn't get guys out of there.
yeah.
When was his last finish? The Marlon Moraes fight back in 2021.
Right.
But he's fighting killers. Like, he's fighting Aldo, Petr Yan, Henry Cejudo.
Yeah.
But then if you look before the Marlon fight, Cody Stamen, John Dotson, Lopes, Casey Kenny, Brad Katona, he's not finishing anybody, bro.
Right.
He literally has one finish in the UFC. Like, he doesn't get finishes. So that's the problem I have with this fight. I used to always think Merab was the toughest opponent for O'Malley, but now I think that O'Malley is the toughest opponent for Merab.
Yeah.
Not because O'Malley is so magical at stuffing takedowns, but because he's a sniper and it's a 5-round fight.
Yep.
And it only takes one big shot. It could be, dude, if O'Malley lands that knee that he did against Cheeto, Merab's going to be sleeping for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it. We see him get chinned all the time.
Yep.
Whether it's the left hook by Marlon, or I think the Cejudo was a left hook, I think, right?
Yes.
Weren't they both left hooks?
Yep.
Yeah, he gets tagged, bro. So, but at the same time, I will say that performance against Petr Yan was incredible.
Right. He just
Absolutely
basically
incredible. And if you do MMA math, O'Malley had an absolute war with Petr Yan that I still to this day don't know if he won that fight.
Yeah.
So that's the tough part about the fight.
I mean, Merab just took Petr Yan and he swallowed his offense whole. Like, Petr Yan literally couldn't get off the cage and could not deal with Merab's constant pressure. Now, that being said, I feel like O'Malley's got better BJJ than Yan does, so that's a potential counter to takedown attempts. And I feel like he is more precise, especially Yan is a great boxer, but O'Malley's knees, elbows, he's much more creative and I would say more versatile as a striker. So, that's some differences between the two. Merab is a weird fighter, bro, because I don't think you're going to disagree with any of these notions that I have about Merab, who is undoubtedly a top 5 guy in this division. I don't think that Merab has very good hands. I don't think he's a good striker. We see him get clipped and chinned a lot at distance. He was dropped by Marlon Moraes. I don't think Merab has very good control. That's why he doesn't have a lot of ground and pound wins, is because guys can just get back up. Merab doesn't really prioritize control. He'll just be like, I'll just take him down again. And he doesn't have any submission danger. 0.3 attempts per 15 minutes. I'm not sure he's got to win by
How does he
submission.
not, though? He trains at Aljo, like, I don't know.
It
takes a while to develop it, but it's like, you would think these guys would have the submission abilities. Like,
Yeah.
he's just so good at wrestling. Like, he's such a tank.
Yeah.
Such a gas tank. Constantly getting guys to the ground. Like, how do you not get finishes?
Yeah, it is really weird where, like, but then at the same time, Merab's a top 5 guy because his pace and his cardio is something we've never seen before. But I like O'Malley here, Maddie. I've got him modeled at minus 160, so I think even the money line is a good sell. I don't really have a specific prop. I'm very in line with odds makers on props. I've got knockout 37.6%, decision 21.6%, and then sub just 2.3%. So apologize.
What's the O'Malley knockout?
It's plus 170. It's plus 170.
Yeah.
I've got
And
it.
again, I would much rather have. Again, people will call me crazy, but I would much rather have the inside the distance at 140 because, again, Merab's been subbed once or twice. I know Ricky Simone has got a good guillotine.
Yep.
And we haven't seen anything like that from O'Malley, but what do I always tell you, bro? I always tell you that I like knockout guys by sub. I like submission guys by knockout.
Yep.
And sometimes I like knockout guys by decision, is where you'll get all the value. And we've seen, I cash submission props all the time when the opponent is a come forward wrestler, right? That is constantly with his neck out there on takedowns and just constantly coming forward. And also when they get tagged and they shoot, the neck's out there. So it would just be the ultimate O'Malley thing to sit there and be like, I subbed Merab. Like, tell me I'm wrong about that.
No, you're not.
He would be the biggest troll. He would just love to troll Aljo and Merab and say that.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And by the way, you're making a good point. If you pay plus 170 for KO, wouldn't you rather have the insurance at plus 140 for a submission? Like, in the long run, if you cash one submission prop in 100 bets like that, it'll pay off. So
Yeah.
you have to be careful. What do we got pulled up for?
I don't even know. What are we watching here? Just
If you
playing
put
Mike and
$1,000,
20 grand
20
bet
grand,
on O'Malley by submission. That's pretty
you're
crazy.
losing you're losing the $1,000.
bro. It won't be the first time I lose 1,000.
Yeah,
Bro.
yeah.
All right, so here's what
so
I told
Brother,
Ethan
let's
Pauls. I
put,
told Moicano, I was like, what do you think
let's
about
make
O'Malley by
a
submission?
a
If I put
parlay.
1,000
No,
on it.
let's make a fucking.
He's like, you're
full
losing your
wallet.
1,000.
Every time that you want to throw your money out, they're gonna say, hey, just
Just send it to Bitcoin.
yes.
So,
By the way, guys, I had a couple questions in the chat asking where you get my NFL picks. All my picks are for free. I don't sell any of my picks. They're in the Telegram. So if we're going to show that on the screen, that Telegram is in all of my bios, Instagram bio, I believe Twitter. It's also, if you're watching from Twitter, you can just go to my profile and click on my Telegram link. There's 10,000 people in there. Every pick is for free. It's just a view-only channel. It's not noisy. You get a notification right to your phone whenever I have a play. That's UFC, NFL, and NBA during basketball season. So go check that out in the free Telegram.
dang, giving away the farm for free, Maddie. So why don't we do this? So we're kind of on the same page here. O'Malley, like him inside the distance. I don't think Sean's got a lot of decision equity here. I think if this goes 25 minutes, he's probably in deep trouble in terms of winning it, right? Because Merab is just a pressure machine. Like, how is he winning a decision here?
The only reason I say he is live for the decision is because Merab just doesn't do damage with those takedowns.
True.
You know, so like if O'Malley wins the first 2 rounds and then just wins one of the next 3, because maybe he just gets up and then tags Merab before the round ends, like that, he could literally steal a round doing that because it's damage over control time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I agree in a way with you, but I also see the other side of it. But I'm with you. I'm O'Malley inside the distance here. I will probably make my card. What is the Merab decision number, by the way? I didn't even look at that.
So it is plus
165.
Plus 165. Yeah.
It's a lot better than plus 110, especially when he has no finishes.
Yeah.
Next to no finishes.
Yeah. The submission thing you said is like a bug in my ear where it's like if he's training with Aljo, is it in there somewhere? Like I've been thinking about that and chewing on it, but like
Merab, how is Merab's submission the same number as O'Malley's, bro?
That's really weird. That is really weird. Merab's sub might look like a complete steal.
Honestly, if I'm gonna take a flyer on Merab for a long shot,
sub,
not even that. Guess again.
Is it inside the distance?
Guess again.
What?
I would go round props, and I would play 4-5.
Okay. Just like the Yon fight.
40-1 and 49-1 for Merab, round 4, round 5, just in case he literally just drains O'Malley's gas tank and he's nothing left.
Yeah.
Then maybe there's like a TKO on the ground. But again, I thought he would do that against Peter Yan, and he wasn't able to. So, but you never know. Yeah.
I just think O'Malley's been training takedowns religiously in this camp. Like it's all you have to train for against.
But how much energy does that take out of you? If he let's say he defends takedowns for 3 straight rounds, he's gonna be tired.
Yeah, I feel like O'Malley's gas tank was really good in that Cheeto fight. I don't feel like he was hardly breathing, but that was striking.
And how much output did he put out? 230 strikes.
It was a ton of damage. And
but
O'Malley,
again, there's for a striker to strike, he can do that all day. For a striker to defend takedowns and grapple, that tires him out more.
Yeah. I will say UFC has not wanted a main event to go one specific way more than this one since probably Khabib Conor. They badly want Sean O'Malley to win this fight because Sean O'Malley, if he wins this fight inside the distance, he's the biggest star in UFC without really a second place.
If O'Malley loses this fight, the UFC's in shambles because they just spent $23 million on a card that they lost money on and their biggest star went down.
Yes.
And you think they give him the immediate rematch?
No.
I think they give it to Umar, and then Umar beats Merab, and then they make the O'Malley fight.
Yeah. I honestly, if Sean struggles with Merab, he's not beating Umar, in my opinion, because Umar is so much more diverse.
Umar has the finishing upside with the ground game. That's the difference.
And, like O'Malley's got to finish Merab, and then like maybe I would consider, but then that would almost sort of be a weird Khabib Conor parallel universe type of thing where O'Malley's this crazy knockout star taking on the Dagestani undefeated Russian guy. So
yeah, I just feel like Umar's name isn't big enough still. Like people say that's Conor. People say it's Conor, Khabib, but I just don't think it's anything like that.
Yeah, yeah,
I see that. I understand why people say it, but I just
yeah.
think there's not the hate there. There's no hatred there. Umar hasn't really like won big fight. Like he hasn't won a like mainstream fights in the UFC yet. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the Sandhagen result was a decision too, so it's not even like a highlight or
Yeah,
anything.
and
So
it's
yeah,
I don't
it
know.
is a little underwhelming. Like O'Malley definitely has highlights, including knocking out Merab's teammate. So we'll see if he can replicate
Yeah,
that result. But Maddie, it's parlay time, buddy. We got 10
let's
fights at the
go.
till.
We
We
got to
got
do
to
a bunch of shit for this one. Like let's do like three.
We'll do three. We'll do a couple of themed long shot sort of parlays, but of course we always do the air quotes safe parlay that usually comes in around 5 to 1 when we build
Yeah,
it for this card. Last week's was not ideal. Though we got burned on Delgari in round 1, and then we also had Gilbert in there, so definitely
that
need a
was
better
bullshit. By the way, I was so mad. He was beating the shit out of him.
effort.
3 straight minutes on the ground in round one and couldn't finish him.
Yeah, he was absolutely dominant and couldn't finish him. I'm telling you, I feel like these guys are training to survive rather than win, as Marat did there. But let's
Yeah.
see what we can come up with. We are missing.
I already know what our safe parlay should be, bro.
Okay, let me hear leg
We're,
one.
oh no, we can't go Torres because you don't love that.
Torres round one. But no, I like Torres money line if you want to play that.
Okay, you do. Okay, yeah, yeah. All right, so Torres money line. We'll just go money line because nothing else is available yet in FanDuel on that one.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then we'll go to the main card
What
and
about
we'll lock in.
Diego ITD, buddy?
I'm down to lock it. Lopez inside the distance,
Yep, plus 170.
or do you want to go money line on the safe one?
I bet we could do money line, dude, because I bet if we throw in Grasso, I bet it'll be pretty close. But I feel better about Grasso than I do O'Malley.
I don't want to touch the O'Malley fight in the safe parlay.
Okay, I agree with you. I agree with
Yeah,
you on that.
let's go. I mean, if let's say we go. Hold on, let me remove this. If we go Alexa Grasso money line, Torres money line, and Diego money line, that's plus 369. If we want to spice it up, we just go Diego ITD.
Yeah, let's see the difference. So plus 369 versus it's 724. That's a little higher than we usually want, but I mean when my mom
Or
turning near, yeah. What you got?
I mean, we
I don't.
could. What if we took Grasso out and just went Diego inside the distance with Torres money line?
That is plus 380.
That feels safer and it pays more.
Yeah,
Grasso's still fighting Valentina.
that's true. Valentina's not bad. She's one of few things. See, she's not. I kind of like that dude. Just
Why don't we
Torres.
take Grasso out? Period. Because she's
Yeah.
gained a little bit of steam too, right? At minus
Yep.
140.
Yep.
Let's trust our gut on Diego, right? We were pretty sold on Ortega's gonna move up. He's probably gonna get finished here.
Yep.
So let's trust our gut on that one. So we'll add in Diego, double chance here, KO or submission at plus 170,
Yeah.
and
What
then
about let me see here. What about Lazy Boy? Lazy Boy Osbourne doesn't go the distance. It's minus 192. Brings us to plus 631.
wow, why is it so cheap?
That I because I feel like Osborne's win equity is solely tied to a knockout. God, I'm gonna be mad if Lazy Boy wins by decision, but man, that feels really cheap to me. And then we're at plus 631. That's kind of where we like to live. Could
Or do
explore
we go lazy boy money line instead?
at minus 140. That'll lengthen it if you want.
Yeah.
Lazy Boy money line plus 724 for those. We could go. Yeah, I mean it's a Lazy Boy's the same right now as Grasso, so that's kind of what we're working with.
Yeah.
I like does not go the distance there even more than I like Lazy Boy, to be honest with you.
But do you think Osborne will catch lazy boy?
Yes. I don't know. We don't know a whole lot about Lazy Boy at this point. Osborne's got pretty good hands. At least power from that respect. I feel like Rodríguez when finishes inside the distance at like a 60% clip, so I getting Osbourne finish in there too is really solid in my opinion.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. I like that.
Yeah. So do we want to do So Torres, Lopes inside the distance, and then Osbourne, Rodríguez does not go the distance.
Yeah, that's plus
630.
631.
You like it?
Yeah, let's run with it.
Okay, fine. Is that your final answer? Some
That's my
redistribution.
final. Yeah, that's my
All
final.
right, I'm sending that. So we'll get that up on the screen for everybody. So we got the safe parlay.
Yeah, are you typing that in or you need Mike too?
No, we got a screenshot that we can put up there.
Okay, so Mike, can you type that one in?
Well, I mean, I can type it as well.
Or Austin will type it. Austin will type it. All right. While you're typing that in for the chat, I'm gonna start cooking up my long shot, bro.
Okay, what you got?
All right. Problem is, I can't do Torres yet, but I can't do Torres or Raul because the odds aren't up on the finish or the rounds yet. All right. Here's what we're doing. I'm doing a decision lay here.
Okay,
I'm going Esteban by points
I like that one.
plus 410.
Okay,
Or do we just do a dog lay?
like
Because
all
the
three of
decision
our
lines
dogs?
aren't up yet on the prelims. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, if you tied,
Or we go a
Cháirez-
Grasso decision. I'm down for that.
I like that one too.
Just a two-legger, bro. A
What's it
two-legger plays 14-1.
Ooh, that's not bad at all. So you got Grasso.
Let's
and
run
Cháirez
that one. I like that.
Yep, I do too. Let me type it. What's the exact number there?
I'll just put it in the Telegram so you can type it in.
Okay.
Two-legger, 100 pays 1430, well 1530 total. Alexa Grasso by decision and Esteban by decision.
Our boy Esteban.
Just a two-leg there to get 14-1 on your money.
Yep, I
That's
love
pretty
that.
solid. Let's click on that one, Mike.
Now you talked in, and we had, by the way, and chat always is clowning our plays as we're talking through here. We had
Yeah.
a lot of love for the round one parlay that we cooked up. Are you interested in it?
I am. I wish
we don't have the Raul
we can't
part.
touch the prelim, but all we have to do, bro, is find Raul, what Raul round one is on a random site,
I will.
and then let's add in a comparable number on FanDuel, and we'll just run it.
Okay. I mean, I'll build this one off of FanDuel.
I'm gonna cook up the other legs. We're gonna double dip here a little bit on Diego, but it is what it is, bro.
He's minus
Diego round one. All right, Diego round one to get Brian Ortega out of there.
Yep.
We're going. That's plus 430 on the first leg.
Yep.
Then we're gonna go Lazy Boy round one. You down?
Yes. I think
Plus 380.
Oh, it is a white belt. I think he subs it.
And then I just need an estimated number from you on Raul round one.
So it's minus 320. So let me see what.
Minus 320 on round one finish.
Oh, I'm sorry, not round one. That was
Holy
inside.
shit!
Sorry, I scared you there, didn't I?
I
Plus
would never
140.
put that in there.
Plus 140. Inside.
All right, so yeah. So I just gotta find.
It's fine. Here, Ortega.
I got it. Ortega money line on FanDuel is plus 140. So
Yeah. So what's the number?
all right, so here it is. So why does it not come out as a parlay?
Oh, because you can't take him inside the same fight. We got to find a different plus 140.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
All right, hold on.
No, there's no same game parlay involved there.
Yeah,
Plus
yeah.
130 is a good number for Diego.
I was just trying to get the math to the right number and I didn't even think about it. Where's the plus?
All right.
I'll just go like to NFL or something. Hold on. There's got to be a plus 140 in the NFL right here.
Yeah.
Or something close.
Here we go. Oh, never mind.
Plus 122 is the closest I see here. Plus 152. We'll estimate here.
Yep. Okay.
All right, so we're gonna say that. Holy shit! Wait till you see.
It'll be
this.
about plus 150.
So this is gonna pay probably about 55-1. All right, so here it is. Diego Lopes to win in round one. Ronaldo Rodríguez to win in round one. And Raul Rosas Jr. to win in round one. $100 pays 5,500.
So about plus 5,500 or so.
Yeah, I mean, so the plus 150 in there is at 63 to one. So I'm just
Okay.
guessing.
Yeah, well, I think it'll be about plus 150 when it comes out on FanDuel, maybe a little bit shorter.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, because it's going to be higher on FanDuel.
Yeah, it usually is. So
Let's just
that's
say 63 to one. Then I think you're right.
yeah.
So
Oh,
this is
63
going to be about 63 to one odds, boys.
whatever.
Diego round one, Ronaldo Rodríguez round one, Raul Rosas Jr. round one.
Yeah.
$100 pays $6,000. We'll call it.
I've got it at plus 5,500 around plus four. What semantics? It's about 40 to 50 to one. It's a big payout.
Yeah.
Again, we're just building for fun, smaller units than
Yeah.
recommended. But I like that, Maddie. Isn't it a little weird? Lazy Boy shorter to win in round one than Diego.
You
That's a
know it's
little
gonna
weird.
be disgusting as Raul gets it done.
Yeah.
Lazy Boy gets it done. Diego beats the shit out of Ortega in round one. That dude survives. Like I'll be done betting for the rest of my life, bro. I can just see that happening now because Ortega just gets his ass beat, but he's so tough, bro.
Yeah,
But
and
I don't know.
I just wanted to clarify for everybody. We know that some other books might have props and stuff. I work for FanDuel. We can only reference FanDuel lines on this show. If I get an idea from a different one, it's just shadysportsbook.com. I apologize that it's not the best viewing experience, but it means I get
Hey,
to sit here.
FanDuel though always has the best odds for UFC.
Agreed.
I don't know how
Agreed.
true that is for every sport out there. I genuinely don't know the answer to that, but UFC, insane how it's 10 to 30% better than the rest of the market. Not on money line, but on all the outcomes and the round props and everything, consistently way better.
It's all about a confidence thing. So FanDuel is more confident in their line, so that they put less rake into the line, and consumers can win that way. So it's I definitely
Yeah.
love it from a betting perspective and being able to track FanDuel lines because
Yeah.
it is goaded. So Maddie, we built 3 parlays. We've been through 10 fights. I think it's about time to send everybody on their
Show
way.
show that round one parlay on the screen for me, Mike, for
Yeah,
people that aren't on YouTube.
the round one parlay. We love them long here, and that
This
one's super long.
we need to put the disclaimer on the screen as well. This parlay could result in extreme poverty or financial freedom. There's no in between, boys. Round one parlay. You guys saw my round one parlay that came up short a few weeks ago. It was 1,000 to win 70,000. Came down to the last leg. Robert Valentin had this dude's back and choked him out 3 times in one round, and he couldn't get the tap. Got reversed, and that's all she wrote. So
Yeah.
the last leg always is the hardest. And guess what? It's going to be equally hard trying to finish Brian Ortega in the first round. So
We
that's
get
what we sign up
criticized.
for, though.
We get criticized so often here. Everybody likes this parlay, bro. Maybe this is the one that finally smacks it. We haven't really hit a super long one here on this show yet. You don't hit them very often. That might be it, and maybe it's meant to be. But it should be a great card from the Sphere. Again, if you missed early in the show, Maddie will be there. He'll be there at the Sphere on Saturday, headed to Vegas then, I guess, tomorrow. So your full card in long shots coming out Saturday then?
Yeah, probably Friday night, realistically.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yep.
So
And my full card will come out tomorrow. I'll have my betting guide at FanDuel Research, FanDuel.com/research/UFC. You can just stay tuned to my Twitter handle as well at ASWAME3 if you want to be able to find my betting guide too. But that's where you'll get our full cards, full plays. We appreciate you guys tuning in. You can use those for Cliff Notes, and then we appreciate all the liking, subscribing, rating, help move us along. We had over 1,500 live viewers when we started breaking down the title fights, so we appreciate you guys. You can expect this time on Wednesday moving forward during NFL season. This will be the time we'll do it here on Wednesday, so we may not always have all the props, but we can dig into shadysportsbook.com and still figure out a way to manufacture some parlays here. For my friend, the man, the myth, the long shot legend, Matty Tanner, my name is Austin Swaim. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We will see you 2 weeks from now. UFC off next week, but then we'll see you 2 weeks from now right back here. Take care, and we hope you bets cash.